Hey traders, John Howell here. So the Fed has just come out and done their announcement. I had a really nice short-term trade as well too on the futures market today. But I really want to talk to you about the Fed announcement and what I see coming moving forward, and also the mining stocks as well too. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty, so let's get straight into it, traders. One thing that I really want to talk about in today's video, one thing that's really important, you can see what's happened through here on the S&P 500. You can see that we opened high, we actually opened up because the futures market actually rallied on the open as well too. So I was actually watching the open today. It rallied up, came all the way back down, and this is where it is right now. We still have, 3:28. So we still have half an hour before the market closes today. So the way that I'm seeing what's happening to the Fed right now, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a bit more selling coming into the markets. Again, it's a bit of a guess there. So I wouldn't be too surprised a bit of a short-term selling, but with that short-term selling, I believe there's a significant bottom coming soon in this downward leg in the markets there. So moving over now through to the Nasdaq as well too, same sort of thing, right? We actually opened high, came down, closed low. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually tried to test these lows again down through here, but I don't believe, if we do get any weakness out of the markets on the Nasdaq, then I don't believe it's going to be long lasted. I believe we're going to start to see a very nice leg back to the upside. And one of the things that tell me that is, let me actually just bring up a chart with the good old, this one right here. You can see how that when you use a moving average, you can see when we get too far away from the moving average, we get into these overbought, oversold levels, and you can see how right now we're at the maximum oversold level than we have in quite some time. So it's actually probably the same oversold simply means it's the distance away from the actual 52. You notice that even in the COVID crash, there's a distance away from the 52, and then it came back to it. Same for here as well too. So there's two scenarios that happens in this case scenarios. Firstly, one is the market rallies back up to meet the 52, or the market just goes sideways and the 52 comes back down. If scenario number two happens, which it's unlikely, but if scenario number one, or if scenario number two happens, which is this here, where we just go sideways for a few months and then the 52 starts to pick back up, we're probably likely to start to see something like that coming out of the markets there. I see that there's a good possibility of some sort of a V bottom coming soon. So we may get a bit more of a sell-off coming through here, but I believe we're likely to start to see a nice sharp rally coming out of this, maybe even next week. But on a short-term basis, I wouldn't be too surprised to see this thing actually sell off a bit more as well too. But there's some stocks right now, traders, that are starting to set up really nicely for potential buying opportunities. One of them is Apple. If I look at Apple, let me just take all the moving average off the screen here. I'm noticing Apple is right at, Apple has this is a starter point from last year, and then we bounced off this level 3. Look what happened recently. We came down and bounced through here as well too. So we're getting a lot of support around this support level here. So I'm personally going to be watching this because I could get a nice little entry signal for myself to get in on Apple. I don't just buy the dip, guys. I don't believe in just buying the dip. You wait for a really good quality setup, and then that's when you guys can do really well, right? It's basically trading based on setups, not based off, well, I think Apple's going to bottom here, so let me just buy it. That's the wrong approach in the markets. One thing that I've continued to talk about, and one thing that happened today is, let me bring this up here, is that you guys know for this entire month, I've talked about the energy sector meeting a goal up here, which was this. I did this projection line when the market started to break out. And again, at the start of the year, I talked about a trade that I did here, and I even mentioned it to you guys, that I had a target of basically 66 on the energy sector. and look at that thing go. It actually reached the target today. So I talked about that at the start of the year, and that exactly what happened in there. So analysis is absolutely spot on there. And also it gave me a really nice, good quality trade through there. The next thing, traders, is that I did say is that we're probably going to be getting a bit of a sucker rally out of the mining sector. And that's exactly what's happening out of this level here. This breakout that we got here on the mining stocks. And the thing is that I see this thing broke to the upside, and I was telling you guys, listen, this has a good probability out. There's no certainties. A high probability this is going to be a fake out. We're going to continue to run back down and start to continue back down from there. And so if I look at that's the GDXJ. Saying, look at the GDXJ. That was the breakout there. And I remember a lot of people on YouTube were just like, John, you have no idea what you're talking about, and so on and so forth. And here we go, we're rolling over right now. And that's exactly what I called, that this is probably going to be a false breakout, which I didn't go long there. And I was warning you guys, but look what happened. We rolled back down now, and now we're probably going to continue to fall through this support and probably continue down. I can just see all you bumblebees dislike, unsubscribe. This guy's an idiot. Traders, I may muck around every now and then. I may do the bumblebees and Donkey Kong and stuff like that. But there's a lot of things that I've been talking about that have actually come to fruition. The energy sector. I even had like this support line down the level down the bottom here. This is the target that I had for the Nasdaq. This was the actual target that I set for the Nasdaq to get down to, and I said that we're probably going to get a big flush down. So a lot of things that I've been talking about the last few weeks, which is the target for the indices. I talked about at the start of the year of how the energy sector having a massive rise, and that's exactly what happened. I've also talked about how we're not out of the woodwork yet on the mining sector, and that's exactly what happened. So all this stuff I've been talking to you about, and it's not about me being right here. Oh, obviously I have been right, and I'm gonna take that shirt to the cupboard, so to speak. But traders, just learn from the stuff that I'm teaching you and apply it to your own trading, because this is when you can start to really make big progress in your own trading just by adapting some of these techniques that I've been teaching you. Same for the SILJ. Look at the SILJ. Same thing. Look at this here. Complete false breakout once again, and now we're down through here. Once again, now looking at this level, I wouldn't be too surprised if we did start to break down. And then once we do that, traders, we're gonna it's a waterfall in the markets, and the same for the SIL as well. Look at this here. We had this breakout through here, and then it's exactly what I said that was probably likely to happen, which is a false breakout, and then the market actually broke to the downside. Now we're hovering around through here. We're probably likely to now continue down out of that. Let's go look at gold. Gold just won't give up, will it? So we're actually in this sort of triangle pattern with gold. You can see gold actually ran up today, and it's like we just didn't get the breakout. And then look what happened with gold today. Gold actually got a bit of a pullback here. And the thing here, traders, is we're not getting any conviction out of gold yet. And this has always been the difficult thing when I'm looking at gold here. Is I'm saying, okay, we've got a strong move down, but now we're just getting this very weak sort of move to the upside. We're not getting strong. We're not getting a strong move. So this actually could be dangerous for the metals. And now I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, but if we start to get some follow through on the downside like that, then we're possibly going to start to see gold come back down there. Now I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen. Okay, we need to see a breakout first of that, because we are getting a very weak movement through here. So. And also moving over now through to silver as well too, and silver is actually the hardest one out of the whole lot to get a good gauge on. We're seeing that we have a high through here, and then we have a potential lower high, really just sideways. There's no one really in control. So we've just got we've got this significant support level around this sort of $25 level, but we really need to see where does it actually break out. What's silver going to do? So that's what I'm seeing through there, traders, overall. So traders, I want you to go down to johnsfreetraining.com. That's johnsfreetraining.com. And there should be a link in the description as well too, because I've just put up a bit training talking to you about like how I trade the markets. What is the system that I use to trade the markets? If you want to be professional at trading and do really well, stop trading based on what you think. There's a lot of people that come to me and they're trading based off, well, I think this is going to go up, so let me get into it. If you want to actually do well out of trading, you got to have some sort of rules, right? You can't say, oh, well, this is the set of rules for this trade, and then the next trade you have another set of rules. It's just you're going to blow yourself up. And how I've done really well out of trading is that I just follow a set of rules. Like I do these market updates for you guys, but you don't realize that just because I do a market update and I see what the charts are telling me, doesn't mean that I trade based off that. You're like, probably, what do you do the analysis for, John? I'm doing the analysis just to keep you guys updated on the markets, but it doesn't mean I trade based on it. If you actually want to be a professional trader, right, then you need to have some sort of a system or a pattern that you follow. Otherwise, there's no probability of you actually doing well at all. So go to johnsfreetraining.com and I'll share with you all the details of how I trade the markets and my system, and that way you can start to implement it to your own trading.